mean, it's player profiler today with Brendan Booth, but also with Chev. So it's bigz and Chev. You can see that on the thing. I don't have an intro video yet, but welcome to player profiler today, Friday with a twist. It's Saturday. We had a travel day
It's
for
Friday
Chev.
somewhere.
He is in the Sunshine State. It is. Is it?
I reckon it's the sunshine. I mean, I just
No,
I,
is it Friday somewhere?
maybe
Would it be
it's Friday
Australia?
yesterday for sure.
Absolutely, and it will be Friday again. Um, so it's a player profiler today, October 18th, but today is October 19th. Um, we're here to bring you all of the latest news, the preview of the Week 7 games, injury reports, etc. Um, I don't know. You were traveling. Did you notice any big time news or anything happening this last week? Anything
Well,
happen in the NFL
well,
world?
there was the one thing, and then there was the corresponding other thing that the other team in the AFC East did. Well, the one thing was the worst kept secret for about what 9 months by
we'll
your
we'll
Raiders.
we'll call it 2 months,
Oh,
and
okay, we'll say 2 months, but was it? Was it?
I'm not inside the man's head, but yeah, we had one of the premier, also aging out, likely Hall of Fame wide receivers,
it's
traded
a
from
tricky
the.
it's a tricky deal with the Hall of Fame though.
Sure,
With receivers.
I think he had enough sustained elite years that and Super Bowls. He won a Super Bowl, right?
Nope.
No, I thought he
No, he
did.
was not on the 2011 Packers team, the only one in the Aaron Rodgers era to make the Super Bowl. I could go on a huge rant about how Aaron Rodgers is the unluckiest quarterback of all time, but I mean, I kind of keep it to myself because he's mostly publicly unlikable. But it's a
Sure,
yeah,
but shout out Pleasant Valley High School and Butte College up in Chico, and the Crystal Triangle they call it's a little triangle. It's Paradise, California, Chico, California, Oroville, California. My family's all from there. Aaron
nice.
Rodgers grew up in Chico, went to Butte College, which is kind of in the middle of that triangle. It's like kind of equidistant from all three of those cities, and
It's like the Point Nemo of California.
yeah, I lived in Paradise. Whenever I would drive down the hill to Oroville, I would pass Butte College where Aaron Rodgers played. I took classes at Pleasant Valley High School in like this jobs program. That's where he went to high school. So he also went to Cal, which is like that's my heart school. So I have a place in my heart for Aaron Rodgers.
Same,
Um,
same.
we can get along with people even if we don't agree with every single thing that comes out of their mouth.
Listen,
Um,
he's my favorite quarterback. Full stop. He's my
yeah,
favorite quarterback to watch of all time. Like full stop, no questions asked. I can dissociate like who he is as a quarterback and how I feel about him from like his public persona.
right.
Um, so like I have to throw it out there. It's like, man, why did you do that?
Well,
Like,
every time somebody talks about guilty pleasure TV shows on Twitter, I never respond with this, but I always think, yeah, I watch Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee every Tuesday. Like he's a super smart dude. He knows the game of football. His insights are really good. As long as he's not talking about some other things like out in the culture and he's sticking to
yes,
football, he's fantastic.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers, shoe-in Hall of Famer.
yes.
But Devonte
There's
Adams
no
is
question about that one.
right, but Devonte Adams is a little bit more nebulous. I think he's good enough. I think he is,
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
but he did have a rough first 3 years, and then his last 3 years have been kind of like bouncy. But he had a good sustained run for a second. It'll
100%.
depend a lot on his counting stats once everything is done, and if the Jets win a Super Bowl this year,
Oh man. Well,
or
if it's dependent on that, then he's definitely not getting into the Hall of Fame. But hey, I'm just the guy with the crystal ball.
sure, sure.
Breaking news: Jets aren't going to
Uh,
win the Super Bowl this year. You heard it here first.
One of the things that I think is funny about let's stay on the Jets for a second. We'll talk about they made their coaching changes last week, then played a game, then made the Devonte Adams trade. So the Jets are coming into this weekend with a little bit of a renewed vigor, and we totally crapped on the Todd Downing hiring. But when you look at what the offense did with Todd Downing calling the plays, all of a sudden they went from like a bottom five motion and play action offense to like top 10.
Yeah.
Suddenly he was like, I feel like I have the key to unlock this offense. They ultimately didn't win the game, but Brees Hall got room to run, and now they're adding Devontae Adams. So in regards to the Devontae Adams trade, how do you think this affects the offense? Like, where do you see things kind of like falling into place for the New York Jets?
Well, first things first, I think it's an absolute huge boost to Aaron Rodgers. He's already got four multi-touchdown throwing games this year. This puts him back into like the Green Bay, like 3-4 touchdowns on maximum efficiency. Um, it's definitely going to be I think it's going to be a boom for Brees Hall, and I think it's going to be a boom
Mm-hmm.
for Garrett Wilson, who now gets to be
Yeah,
like in the slot, motioned around, number two corners. Like he gets to be the Randall Cobb of this offense, just running those underneath routes, getting like not getting coverage drawn to you, because I don't care how good you think Garrett Wilson is. He's not Devontae Adams. And we know what Devontae Adams still is. We saw that in week two.
right,
Like, I think that it's wheels up for pretty much everyone. Well, it becomes a more concentrated offense first and foremost. And it's just Brees Hall, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson for me personally. And then I think that that allows for them to be more productive as a unit. Like the Mike
right.
Williams experiment over. Alan Lazard will probably still randomly catch a touchdown here and there. I have no interest in Tyler Conklin. And it just them being able to sustain drives is going to make that their defense that much better.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
so,
I totally agree on all points. One of the things in on the fantasy side of things that got lost with people, sky is falling it about Garrett Wilson having like another alpha wide receiver coming over, is that he's not going to be double teamed anymore,
right,
and he is an elite separator. He's a fairly good route runner, but he's an elite separator, whereas Devontae Adams is an elite at both. So
right,
Garrett Wilson is like, this is kind of like an unlock mechanism for him where he's not going to be the focus of the
exactly.
defense anymore. And I think in fantasy, this is going to be very productive for him. So I like went out and targeted him, trying to figure out if there were some owners that were like, oh no, he's got another mouth to feed. I think the biggest hit in fantasy for this team is going to be Alan Lazard, who I was super high on, and I was enjoying the run, but now I feel like that's over. And then Brees
Yeah,
Hall. I've talked about on this show, on just about every show that I've ever done, the way that a competent quarterback that can move the ball down, like make deep throws accurately, opens up the game for running backs. And we've seen it time and time again where a quarterback will come in and the defense won't be scared of them, and then all of a sudden the running back is inefficient. Whereas once you start getting a guy that can throw the ball deep, it opens things up. It gives the defense something more to think about, and they can't focus quite so hard on the run. So you start seeing 6-man boxes or 5-man boxes instead of 7 and 8-man boxes. And I think that's what's going to happen with Brees Hall.
I
He's
agree.
going to have more of an open field, and he's just so wiggly. He's so fun to watch. He's
Oh,
what
he's such a running back, dude. I don't know that term makes a ton of sense, but it's just like he gets the dirty yards. He's way more slippery. He's faster, more athletic than you think. And
yeah,
then like he'll house something from like 70 yards out, and you're like, wait, he was just at the 20. How is he at the other like in the other end zone now? Like, yeah, I mean he's gonna finish probably I'd say comfortably in the top four. I mean, and
yeah.
that seems like the floor.
I had him as my RB1. His start to the season hadn't gone the way that I had planned, but didn't with Ramondre Stevenson or Rashad White or Travis Etienne either. So we give ourselves flowers and take laps for the calls we make, and don't talk about the 30 that we miss. All
That a
right.
boy.
As far as the Raiders' impact, nobody cares about the Raiders. The Raiders are a
You
trash
do.
team at this point. I mean, I don't. I will rep Raider Nation forever, but but I,
Join me in the
as,
quantum of football trash.
right, for the 2024 season, I'm pretty much done. I'm doing my quarterback scouting for the 2025 draft. I'm starting to look at free agents. I every once in a while you make a bold prediction, you make a flag plant, and mine for right now is that T Higgins will be in silver and black in 2025. They
Ooh.
not
Ooh. I like
not
it.
as yeah, right, not as far as impact for the 2024 season, but for 2025 and beyond, the Raiders. One of the things, so of course, I'm a Raiders fan, and I talk to friends and family about what the trade meant and all that stuff. First of all, Devontae Adams hadn't played for the Raiders in the last 3 games, so we got to see kind of a glimpse of what the offense might look like moving forward. It's a lot of Jacoby Myers playing out of position, which is fine. He's a serviceable wide receiver out of position. He's a very, very good wide receiver if he's playing flanker or slot. But if
Yes.
they determine that he's their X, that's bad for him. And then Brock Bowers is like, he might see a target increase. It does take away some of the in breaking routes that he's going, the crossers over the middle in the intermediate that Devontae Adams would clear out. So hopefully, what we see from the Raiders offense is Trey Tucker on the same side as where Brock Bowers ends up releasing, and he can kind of pull the safeties back and give Brock Bowers some room. If Luke Getsy is as smart as me or smarter, then those are some of the things that we're going to see. And Brock Bowers, who already is tight end 2, should finish as tight end 1 unless we have like just a huge last 11 games of the season for
Yeah,
Travis Kelce.
I think he enters into the conversation of, that poor man's Travis Kelsey in his prime, like one of the lower end, like 1,300, like 90 catch, 1,300 yard, 4 touchdown, 5 touchdown seasons, as opposed to the ones where he goes for like 12 or something like
Right.
that. Just because I don't think the offensive ceiling will be that high for them to score that much. But he is that type of talent. Like we've seen him score from like 80 yards out on like jet sweeps and stuff in college. And granted, this is the men's league, but
Right.
he but
No,
he is that level of talent.
we see the success so far of rookie wide receivers, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. We see the talent of Rome Odunze. We see what Marvin Harrison Jr. Like what his ceiling could possibly be. And when the metrics of Brock Bowers as a receiving tight end was placed over those rookie wide receivers coming into the draft, he was wide receiver 4. So, as good as we think that Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Rome Odunze are, Brock Bowers is that good, only he's doing it out of the tight end position. So, as long
100%.
as you have an offensive coordinator who is dialing it up correctly, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge ask with Luke Getsy, but
Sure.
we believe.
The other thing, and not about the catchable balls, Brock Bowers, one of his biggest strengths as a receiver is his yards after catch and his his missed
Missed
tackles
tackle.
forced.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you get the ball in his hands, he's going to do things with it. I've seen a couple plays, one in preseason, one during the season, where they hit him on like the boundary, and since he's coming across, he's facing the sideline, and then he tries to cut up field and he loses his footing. And that's exactly the kind of play that if his foot got planted and he was able to cut back inside and let the defender cross him towards the sideline, he'd be gone. And it's happened a couple times, and I feel like moving forward a couple times he's going to get that. He's going to get that play and just be gone for 40, 50, 60 yards.
Yeah.
As far as fantasy impact, I think Jacoby Myers kind of stays where he's at. He had 1,000 air yards and 8 touchdowns last year. I see him coming close to those numbers in 12 games. Just if he has the target share, the snap share, and then Trey Tucker, who has the most routes run for the Raiders so far this year, which doesn't mean anything in terms of like fantasy production, but at least it means he's been healthy.
Right.
So make him the your Win Sprint, your Gabe Davis, your Alec Pierce. You're just run as fast as you can, as far as you can, and we'll try and figure out something in the middle. It doesn't affect him. So I feel like at this point the only reliable fantasy assets on the Raiders are gonna be Jacoby Myers as kind of a flex player, wide receiver 3, depending on your league format, and then Brock Bowers. The other thing though, and again, I'm gonna hammer this again. Once Aiden O'Connell gets his feet under him, I feel like it's going to open things up for Zamir White. Everybody loves Alexander Madison and his goal line touches. He's
Yep.
not efficient. He hasn't been
Old
efficient
2.8
whatsoever.
yards per carry, Madison. Yep.
Yeah, but he is fifth in targets on the team. So like he has flashed like kind of some receiving upside. But Zamir White's been hurt, and I think that Zamir White is going to. I feel like the whole Gardner Minshew thing was Luke Getsy and Telesco going to Antonio Pierce and saying, "Look, this is how we see it," and Antonio Pierce saying, "Fine, we'll do it your way until that doesn't work, and then we'll do it my way." And his way is Aiden O'Connell and Zamir White, and like not giving the free agents what obviously Tom Telesco paid money to Gardner Minshew and Alexander Madison. He wants to see them on the field because that's his flag plant of
Sure.
success.
Right.
Antonio Pierce sees it a little bit differently, I think, and he wants to go with Aiden O'Connell because that's his guy, and Zamir White because that's his guy, and they were his guys before Telesco and Getsy came, and I feel like those guys are going to get a chance. So second half they're going to be okay.
I'm thrilled that you said that because I picked up Zamir White in one of my leagues, and
So did I.
yeah, I was like, yes, talk
I,
nice about Zamir White.
I was hanging out with a friend of mine last night at work. We both used to work together, and then now we just randomly the same week got hired by the same place. So he came in to show me how to close last night. We were talking football. He pulled out one of his fantasy lineups, and Travis Etienne, Rashad White, and Travis Etienne and Rashad White were both on waivers.
Oh,
Hunter,
wow.
Hunter Henry, who has like the best matchup of tight ends this week. Jacksonville is terrible against tight ends in fantasy. He had
Yeah.
Hunter Henry was on waivers, and I was just like, pick that guy up, pick that guy up, pick that guy up, and we completely like restructured his lineup. So that was fun. And Zamir White was one of those guys. He still had some. I mean, look, this guy isn't. He's not the best fantasy player. He's in last place. He still had Samaje Perine on his roster. He drafted C.J. Stroud in a redraft in the first round. He drafted Brock Purdy because he has 49ers fans in his league, and he wanted to sit Brock Purdy on the bench the entire year just to make them angry. So I gave I gave him a little help. All right. Moving on, let's talk about the other trade that happened, and that was Raiders legend Amari Cooper
Yes.
on his way to Buffalo. Looks like the Buffalo Bills gave Keon Coleman a 5-6 game audition and said, "You know what? We got to do something."
Yeah.
Keon Coleman is not it. A lot of us knew that going into the season. But Buffalo go out and they get Amari Cooper. He's an X. He's a wide receiver 1. He's an alpha. Stick him in the X role on the outside for Josh Allen. All of a sudden, Josh Allen has that, which he didn't have before. Opens up the middle of the field for Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel, please, and Dalton Kincaid. Gives James Cook a little bit more room to run. Gives Ray Davis a little bit more room to run. And as long as he's not dropping balls, Amari Cooper kind of Buffalo make a run. Are they the favorite to meet Kansas City in the AFC Championship game?
Not the favorite. I would still say Baltimore. Baltimore's playing the best ball out of anybody right now. But I would say that them being 4-2, and struggling against winning football teams, I think they knew that they needed somebody that they need a receiver. Josh Allen needs a receiver that he can build his passing game around. And Joe Brady, for all of his love of establishing it. Like you need a wide receiver in order to make this an effective run game. You know, you pass the lead, run to win. Like they've been doing a great job against bad football teams, but when they needed that guy against the Texans and against the can't say against the Ravens. Let's just throw that out with the baby out with the bathwater with that one because they were getting blasted no matter what. Derrick Henry decided that it was his day, and whatever he decides that he's going to have a day, you just pack it up and we get ready for next week.
Right.
But you know, against the Texans, it was very clear that they needed somebody. They're throwing nine routes to Mac Hollins with the game on the line. Like, I feel pretty good about those odds if that's Amari Cooper against just about anybody. So it's a W trade for them for sure, and it keeps them. It makes me take them more seriously as a contender. But I mean, Baltimore's curb stomped you once. Like Baltimore had Kansas City beat had they not had Isaiah Likely decided to wear white cleats. Like I can't say that Baltimore isn't the odds-on favorite to meet Kansas City right now, but I would probably put Houston and Buffalo in the same tier now, right? Like that's kind of where I would find it. Like they're in that next tier of like really good playoff teams, but not quite on the level of Kansas City and Baltimore for me.
So a final four of Kansas City, Baltimore, Buffalo, and Houston.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how I would have it if I had to sit down and put it on paper right now. Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you're familiar with it's called the transitive property, and there's a little machine for the transitive property for college football. And basically you put in the name of a school and it'll show you why that school should be ranked number one. And it'll be like SMU beat Tulane, who beat Miami of Ohio, who beat Troy State, who beat West Virginia, who beat Tennessee, who beat Alabama, who beat Georgia, who is the national champion. So by the transitive property, SMU is the best team in football. my hope my only hope for this season for 2024, my only hope right now is that the Baltimore Ravens win the Super Bowl so that I can say by the transitive property the Las Vegas Raiders are the best team in football because they beat the Ravens who beat so and so who won the Super Bowl, right?
I didn't know they had a machine for that. I thought that was just called being an Ole Miss fan during the Hugh Freeze era. I was just like that. Like you, so growing up, like I told you, I played for Hugh Freeze in high school, and I'm big fan of him as an X's and O's planner, motivator, all that stuff. But I also have a bunch of friends that are Ole Miss fans, and so every year, every time they would beat Bama, it'd be like, and then Bama would go on to win the national championship. It'd be like, well, I mean, we beat the best team in college football, so are we not the best team in college? And that's just kind of how I know, I guess, passively of the transitive property.
Right.
What was it called?
Transitive property.
The transitive property, yeah. So that's just pretty much just being an Ole Miss fan.
That's awesome. Watch Player Profiler today for the insight and analysis. Stay for the Hugh Freeze intel. All right. On the flip side of that, we have dual stories coming out of Cleveland. Three. We've got a triumvirate of stories coming out of Cleveland. Number one, Amari Cooper onto the Buffalo Bills, which opens up things for Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, one of my favorite. I don't know if I shared on this show or on my Dynasty show. My analytics model for the rookie class of wide receivers, and Malik Neighbors blew everybody away. Number 3 was Jamari Thrash, and that was taken into account yards after the catch, missed tackles forced per reception, yards per reception against zone and man, like just different elements. And I aggregated all the statistics and ran them top 24, and Jamari Thrash came out number 3. It's a bunch of accumulations of statistics and stuff, but the dude is talented. He's been hurt. He's been like buried on the depth chart. He's a rookie. I'm waiting a couple years before he breaks out, but I love the talent. But this might give him an opportunity to see the field a little bit more and actually show what he can do, except for the fact that Deshaun Watson is his quarterback.
There
So
we go. There we go. I was like, man, are you planning on Jameis taking over in the immediate future?
I don't think he helps either. Now unless you're having a crab feed and then Jameis is your guy. So the Triforce of Browns news: Amari Cooper to the Bills opens up Elijah Moore and Jerry Jeudy a little bit, and probably David Njoku more than anybody else. But then also Nick Chubb is back and he's about to attack. Nick Chubb is back.
Nick Chubb is back. Nick Chubb. Oh, sorry.
Jerome Ford out. Nick Chubb off the IR, slated to start. He's starting week 7.
I read his Players Tribune letter that he wrote. Have you seen that yet?
No.
Oh my goodness. It'll make the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
Okay.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 recommend.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
And you were talking about a running back earlier. I forgot which one it was, and it made me think. When we were talking about Brees Hall, it made me think of Nick Chubb. The
Yes.
kinds of things that Nick Chubb does.
Yes.
He explodes holes. He can hit the corner.
Whoa.
He has deceptive speed. Once he gets around around the edge, all of a sudden he's gone. He is like outrunning D-backs. Are we expecting that for the last 12 weeks of the season from Nick Chubb, or is he going to have a little bit of a? Is this a get back year for him because he's coming off another catastrophic injury?
This is me wish casting 100%. I don't have any sort of advanced analytics or intel to say that Nick Chubb is gonna, based on the data, Nick Chubb is gonna do. But I believe Nick Chubb is as close to that Adrian Peterson, Derrick Henry, like that ilk of running back, like that throwback classic, like, hey, just hand me the ball and I do stuff, as we can get. And I think that just if he's 100% in it mentally, with the only question I have, because I think Nick Chubb is such a freak, is Nick Chubb as confident in Nick Chubb and being Nick Chubb? Like, I don't care how bad the offense is. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills are going to play again this week. I know Wyatt Teller's still on IR. Like, if Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb, we'll probably see like 75% of Nick Chubb this week. And then moving forward, we'll get the full Chubb experience from weeks, 8 to 18.
Okay, and 75% of Nick Chubb is better than 300% of me. So I like
Nick
that.
Chubb confirmed superhuman.
Superhuman. Let's jump in the chat real quick. We got Jamie. Jamie is here. Oh, hey, Jamie, we were talking about your Browns. Hey guys, Tillman is talented. Talented also. Yeah, he is. He's more of like that wind spinner guy, but he's good. And then the psychic guy predicted the Bills to win the Super Bowl. So I may be a little bit closer to that than I thought. All right,
like,
we're gonna.
The mentalist. Who are we talking about?
I don't know. Maybe he can clarify.
Wants
the full Chubb experience. That's what she said.
I was hoping that somebody caught that.
I certainly did. It was very good. Now we got to the chat. We got Jamie in here. Hopefully we got some other people in here. Real quickly, if you want player profiler news, if you're on the YouTube side, go to profiler_NFL on Twitter, at profiler_NFL on Twitter. That's where you find the player profiler Twitter feed. We're constantly posting all of our news blurbs that we're writing. Every time there's breaking news that happens, we got somebody at the news desk on it, and they'll tweet it out. We also have our archive of all of the stories. You can go to playerprofiler.com/news and find that there. But I'm not done paying the bills. Let's hear from Matt Kelly real quick. And then on the other side, we'll talk about, we'll go over all of the matchups for week 7 and talk about the injuries and everything. So we'll see you in a second.
Oh, every week I'm answering these start sit questions on Sunday morning. I go to the weekly rankings on playerprofiler.com just to make sure that my instincts are correct, and sometimes they're not. And guess what? More often than not, I go with the projections. You may not feel great about starting Daniel Jones or Wan'Dale Robinson, but the projections say, hey, that's the move. It may not feel right, but you use those projections to get it right. That's the power of the Player Profiler system. It's Evan Ringler, it's Bradley Stalder, it's Theo Greminger, of course, it's Billy Muzio making these rankings possible. The season rankings, so you know who to pick up, who to trade for. The dynasty rankings are part of this. The offensive line rankings from Dan Fornick, one of the best in the business. Then we get our cornerback rankings, which show which corners are matched up with which wide receivers. And now, in collaboration with the IDP show, we have IDP rankings. Did you know that? Did you? So go to playerprofiler.com, use promo code PODFATHER. Get you 25% off the player rankings package right now at playerprofiler.com. Enjoy!
That is huge.
Yeah.
Love it.
All
right.
So, I've been tweeting out I'm part of the Profiler NFL news team and tweets out a bunch of stuff, obviously. And just some of the stuff, like the EPX, we won't spend too much time on it, but like EPX, I thought that was a really cool stat, and I've been using the crap out of it here lately.
Yeah, and I don't know if any of you guys out there are playing Fast Draft, but there was a big article on Yahoo Business this last week. There's an investment, venture capital investment into Fast Draft to Player Profiler. We're about to blow up. 2025, we're going to be enormous. Look out, DraftKings and Underdog. We're coming for you. All right, let's get to the games. We have another goddamn London game. Some reason the Jacksonville Jaguars love playing in London. At least they're at Wembley and not Tottenham Hotspur's stadium. Whatever. When are they gonna play at Old Trafford, you guys? Come on. Shout out Red Devils. Anybody? Manchester United? Come on. Okay. We got the 1-5 New England Patriots and the 1-5 Jacksonville Jaguars in an AFC tilt at 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 a.m. Eastern in London. For the Patriots, Vidarian Lowe is out. I mean, come on. He's an offensive lineman. He's not going to be. They're on their fourth team O lineman. Ramondre is questionable. Javon Baker has an illness. He's questionable. Curtis Jacobs, Sione Takitaki, Jonathan Jones, and Marco Wilson. For the Jaguars, Travis Etienne and Tyson Campbell. All right, we had the debut of Josh Allen Light, Drake May, last week, and he looked a hell of a lot better than Jacoby Brissett, to the point where all the people who were saying, don't put him in, he's going to get murdered because of that offensive line, suddenly he wasn't doing Jacoby Brissett things, and actually looks like he might be a thing. So you also have the Jaguars, who a couple weeks ago beat Indianapolis. They got Evan Ingram back, who went off last week. Thankfully, a healthy Etienne, which is not set in stone. Tank Bigsby kind of like showing he can kind of be a thing. Here's the thing about the running back situation in Jacksonville, and I have this from this is elite intel from a Jaguars fan.
This is G14 classified information.
Absolutely. Shout out Schultze. Dearness Johnson took over the Travis Etienne role, not Tank Bigsby, when Etienne was out.
Yep.
Tank Bigsby stayed Tank Bigsby. Dearness Johnson took over for Etienne. Now that Etienne is back, there's no Dearness Johnson, but Tank Bigsby doesn't change. He didn't get a boost when Etienne was out. He's not getting a boost with Etienne back in. He's going to be Tank Bigsby, and Etienne is going to Etienne. His stock and trade is breaking the 20, 30, and 40-plus yard runs, which he usually leads or is at least in the top 2 or 3 in the NFL every year that he plays. So Etienne is back. Ingram is back. all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence might have the offense that we thought that he was going to have moving forward. On the other side of it, you have the New England Patriots, who are decimated by injuries, but Drake May can scoot, y'all, and he's good. He's got Demario Douglas, who's a target machine, and Jalen Polk, who people are waiting on his breakout. How do you see this game going? You think Jacksonville has enough? They should have been better than their 1-5 record. New England, we kind of figured they were going to be 1-5. How do you see this game going?
I think the Jaguars are going to win pretty handily. I think that the travel plays a factor. Them having it's essentially a home game for them because New England's traveling over later on in the week. That typically plays a factor. We saw Jacksonville play really, really well on the second part of the back-to-back in London last year against the Bills. And I don't think that the Patriots have a viable way to stop the run. I don't think that – I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars don't have any sort of way to stop the pass. But if you watch the game against the Texans last week, they just basically played cover one and said Drake May beat us. And they're just not talented enough right now to do that. So Drake May is personally my stream of the week fantasy-wise because the Jacksonville Jaguars are awful against the pass, and they're going to play a ton of man coverage, which means backs turn to the quarterback. He's going to run for another 35 or 40 yards and probably put up another top 12 to top 15 finish, like fantasy-wise. But I think the Jaguars are going to win this game, and maybe Doug Peterson comes back stateside with a job.
Yeah. They're bad against the pass, and Tyson Campbell has a hamstring, so he's kind of iffy, wonky at this point. On all the shows throughout the week, I kept hammering this home. Drake May is a stream, Hunter Henry is a stream, and Demario Douglas is a stream.
Yeah, oddly enough, I feel like all the weapons in this game are playable.
Yeah, and Ramondre too, because that'll be open for him. Jacksonville is bottom. They're 30, they lead in fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks.
Yes.
They're number 1 in fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks.
Yes.
They're number 2 in fantasy points allowed to wide receivers, and they're number 3 in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. So if you need streaming options, go get all of the Patriots. And
they're pretty much available on waivers. I know I scooped up Demario Douglas in a bunch of leagues. And I mean, I'm confident playing him. I'm confident playing Hunter Henry. I don't know how confident I would be in playing Jalen Polk. In super deep leagues or maybe dynasty, you could probably roster Kayshon Boutte. Matter of fact, I would roster Kayshon Boutte.
Shout out LSU Tigers.
Yeah. Supposed to be a first-round pick going into 2023. Lots of stuff happened. He drops to the 5th round. Has a up-and-down rookie year with the Patriots. But you could do worse in a dynasty league if you've been ravaged by injury than maybe playing against the worst pass defense in the NFL.
Right. You could do worse. Playing any one of the 30 other teams. All right. Seattle Seahawks 3-3. Suddenly they have a porous run defense. Atlanta Falcons 4-2. They're playing at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. For the Seahawks, Stone, Forsythe, Trey Brown, Tariq Woolen, and Jarek Reed are out. For the Falcons, Lorenzo Carter and Troy Anderson. God, that's a lot of middle beef right there. And then Antonio Hamilton and Carter and Anderson are out. And then Antonio Hamilton and Justin Simmons are questionable. Not on a lot of radars. No, I mean, it's not like the Seahawks and the Falcons are, leading in fandom. But Kirk Cousins exploiting a weakened Seahawks defense that we expected a little bit better from. And then Kenneth Walker, without Carter and Anderson in the middle, he should have a pretty big game. This one's kind of up in the air. How do you see this one?
I think 51 or 52 points or whatever the over-under is. Let me go give that to you real quick. 51 is what Yahoo currently has it as. I don't think that's enough points. I don't think that's enough points. I think a lot of points are going to get scored this week. And the Falcons are going to score a ton of points. Obviously, my bets against Drake London have failed miserably. He's probably going to have another big week. Mooney's going to have another big week. Like this is another game where I feel like you can start all of your options and everybody can get home. Like
Right.
there's no question. Like if you have Kenneth Walker, you're playing him. If you have Drake London, you're playing him. If you have Darnell Mooney, you're 90% chance you're going to play him. Like Kyle Pitts, prayers up, guys. If you have to play Kyle Pitts, but you're going to play him. Like like unless you drafted Evan Ingram, but you were drafting those guys pretty much in the same range. So you have one or the other. If you have Kyle Pitts, you're going to play him this week. So I think that it just the way that it lands, like you have to play all your options in this game. I saw Tyler Lockett popped up with a knee injury, but I guess he's a full participant Friday.
Okay.
And Jackson Smith and Jigba, you're not going to hear me say don't play somebody from this game. If it doesn't happen, then you just drew the short straw, but it's most likely going to happen.
Right.
The big question for me is, can we finally get a game where Geno throws more than one touchdown pass and it sticks? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. He's only thrown one touchdown pass in several games this season, every game, except for the one. Well, and he ran for one against the Broncos, but he does not have more than one touchdown pass in any game this year. Be it like DK Metcalf getting called down at the 1 or whatever the case may be, or last week against the 49ers, him getting, them calling back 2 touchdowns and DK Metcalf not wearing the white cleats and them overturning another touchdown. So do we get more than one touchdown from Geno this week?
I'm going to say yes. So I'm going to go to underdog and play over on 1.5. All right. If the Seahawks, Falcons, and Patriots, Jaguars aren't the 2 highest scoring games in the NFL this week, which kind of sucks because they're both early, so it doesn't give you anything to look forward to later on.
Well, the over under in the Patriots game is only 42.
I know, but that's because the Patriots they're not looking for the Patriots to score a lot of points, and I feel like they can. You know what I mean?
Well, what did you call it the other week? The unstoppable is the very stoppable force meets the very movable object.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So I'm betting the over on that one.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Because I think they can get loose. It's when you're dealing with a rookie quarterback, things are they're a little bit harder to handicap.
Yeah.
All right, marquee game of the week. The game of the week. Everybody's eyes should be on this one. We've got new Buffalo Bill Amari Cooper hosting the best team in the NFL, the Tennessee Titans. For the Titans, Tyjae Spears is out. Treylon Burks, my heart, is out. Keandre Coburn is out. Cedric Gray is out. Will Levis, shoulder injury, and L'Jarius Sneed is he's questionable. For the Bills,
talent next to Will Levis, he's questionable.
Say what?
Talent.
Right. Yeah. His right shoulder is as wonky as his talent. And then for the Bills, Darrington Evans is doubtful, but A, you don't know who Darrington Evans is. B, you don't know that he plays linebacker. And C, he doesn't play linebacker. He's a running back.
He plays running back. This guy knows because we drafted him. But yeah, they just welcome to the 2 people in the continental United States that aren't related to Darrington Evans, knowing that he's an NFL running back.
Right. And then Ray Davis is questionable. And safety Mike Edwards is questionable. He's sick. You know what? We live in weird times, and from now on, like it says Ray Davis calf, it says Mike Edwards parentheses illness. From now on, in my head, it's just illness is COVID.
Yeah.
Mike Edwards, COVID. All right. Obviously, this is the Bills are gonna run roughshod over Tennessee. Tennessee's
look, bro. I'm just like you. We're the same person now. I've accepted the fact that my season is over. Like all the hopes, all the dreams, I flushed those down the toilet when I watched week after week after week. I get a meme of Will Levis. I get one. That is what my season has been resigned to, is me just looking for the Will Levis meme. And this week, appropriately enough, there's Spider-Man in the background. There's him doing the Spider-Man celebrations after he scores. So, yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you my thing real quick. But we'll keep talking. All right. So Bills take that one, and then we got the Battle of Ohio. 1-5 Cleveland Browns. Jamie Pirog's 1-5 Cleveland Browns. The Bengals 2-4. Absolutely not living up to expectations.
Well, I mean,
DJ Ivy is questionable for the Bengals, and then for the Browns, as we said before, Jerome Ford is out. Ronnie Hickman Jr. is out. Nick Chubb has a questionable designation, but he's playing. Nyheim Hines is questionable. Ethan Posich is questionable. Jordan Hicks as well, and Juan Thornhill. I'm expecting all 5 of those guys to play. Do the Browns pull themselves up out of obscurity with their new renewed lease on their wide receiver core, or is Joe Burrow too much for
this
them?
this is going. So the level of certainty I feel with this almost should tell me, just due to self-loathing, that what I think the opposite's going to happen. So I think, and this is my genuine belief, that the Bengals are going to steamroll the Cleveland Browns this week. Because
So Browns win going away.
yeah, so if you're gonna bet, this is not financial advice. Bet the Browns really heavily, because JC Chev said, "Hey, I think that the Bengals are gonna win going away."
Okay. Yeah, and has let's see, has Cincinnati been able to do anything against the run game this year? No. They are a great matchup for Nick Chubb coming back. Their pass defense actually is pretty darn good. They're a pretty bad matchup, especially if you're missing Amari Cooper.
Yes.
So yeah, watch out for Jamie Pirog's Browns to jump up and surprise everybody. All right, I just sent you a text. It's what I send everybody whenever they talk about Will Levis. Like they'll say, "Oh, Levis," in our group chat or whatever, and then I just send that picture out.
Listen,
For those at home,
listen, I was a notorious Will Levis hater during the pre-draft process, and then we drafted him, and then it was just like eating several spoonfuls of mayonnaise and telling myself that it was good for like a year and a half. And now I don't have to anymore. And I feel so much better about it. I can't tell you how much better I feel about not having to cheer for Will Levis. Like, just honestly, I love it. It's great.
For those of you at home, it's a picture of a coffee cup next to a jar of Duke's mayonnaise.
Yes.
All right. Jamie Pirog says, "Imagine a world where the Browns never got Watson. We'd be 5-1 as a Super Bowl contender." I'm going to have to disagree with your police work there, Lou. All right. We got the Green Bay Packers hosting.
Jamie, that's what we want to see. How do you get to 5-1?
Joe Flacco, baby.
Yeah.
All right. We got the Green Bay Packers in the frozen tundra. They are hosting the 5-1 Houston Texans, one of Chev's aforementioned Final Four. We've got Robert Woods out, Aziz Al-Shaair out, Henry To'o out, Kamari Lassiter out, Jimmy Ward out for the Texans, Steven Sims and Foley Fatukasi questionable. For the Packers, Devontae Wyatt is out, and Dontavian Wicks, he of the butter-covered hands, and Colby Wooden. What? So a few years ago, I don't know if any of you follow bootleg football, but Brett Coleman is fantastic. EJ is great too. They went to the Senior Bowl. And they scouted Dontavian Wicks, Tank Dell, and somebody else. It doesn't matter. And they were like, "You guys don't understand the talent that Dontavian Wicks and Tank Dell have." And we see it. We see it on the field. For some reason, he hasn't broken through that top 3 of the Green Bay wide receiver core, but we know that he has the talent to do it. He started to get his chance earlier and dropped 70% of his passes that he got his hands on. What? He's got the Chuck Knobloch yips, something fierce, and I don't know if he actually has an injury or if they're just like, we don't know if we want to play him.
Yeah.
So this is a battle of 2 playoff contenders. Green Bay Packers. We know everything about their offense is good. They're relatively healthy. And then you've got CJ on the road, minus Nico Collins. trying to deal with that backfield. Is this going to be a game where Joe Mixon does some things and Tank Dell shows up as their leading wide receiver, or Stephon Diggs? Is it the combination enough? This one, I don't really have a good feeling either way. What do you see?
Just based on the injuries that you listed, I find myself leaning more towards Green Bay because of the fact that, you got your two primary signal callers in the defense, Jimmy Ward and Azeez Al-Shaair out. Green Bay's relatively healthy. I can't see a world where Houston has a whole lot of success stopping that offense. There's too many buttons to push. And there's too many, like, hey, if you do this, then we'll do this. We kind of saw that last week, like, oh, you're gonna double cover the dig route with Jaden Reed. Cool. I'm gonna throw it over the top to Christian Watson. Like, you're gonna load up against the run game. Cool. Well, then we'll leave Jaden Reed and Christian Watson or Romeo Dobbs. Oh, you're gonna blitz us? All right, cool. Here's a back shoulder fade to Romeo Dobbs. Like, there's too many answers, and I don't feel like with pretty much backups, and Henry To'o. So both of their linebackers are out.
Yeah.
One, like, their best safety, well, Jalen Petrie is really, really good, but like their most experienced safety is out. I feel pretty strongly about Green Bay winning this game. Also, an important note, we might get an Odell Beckham, Josh Norman level of hate between Stephon Diggs and Jair Alexander. And I have been waiting on this. I stumbled upon it. I forgot about it. I stumbled upon it on Twitter earlier this week, and I am just, I'm wrought with anticipation to see this play out this week.
Get eyes on this game.
Tank Dell week, because those two will probably be trying to kill each other, knife fighting in between plays. But it'll be a lot of fun. But I do think Green Bay is going to win.
So this for you is kind of like my Chiefs Niners. Like, please, NFC team, just take out my division rival.
Well, secretly, I have always had I don't hate the Texans as much as I despise. If there's one team that I would despise in the AFC South, it would probably be the Jaguars, just because. And the Texans, I've always secretly I love JJ Watt. I was a big CJ Stroud guy when everybody else was a big Bryce Young guy coming out. So secretly I've always, and I have an unnatural man love for Joe Mixon. It's not
okay.
We've talked about it on the podcast quite a bit. I've done better, but for years I was just Joe Mixon to the moon. Guys, Joe Mixon to the moon. And it's been right-ish. He's been a top 12 running back, but it's it's the most unspectacular top 12 that you could ever imagine. So yeah, I don't hate the Texans, and now that my season my team's season is pretty much done mattering. I don't have to hate them anymore, or wish that they don't do well. But I don't think they're going to win this game.
I love that you keep saying that, and my team has more wins than your team. If I'm out, you definitely should be out. Speaking of out, we have a raging pillow fight going on in Indianapolis. The Dolphins and the Colts. Somehow the Colts are 3-3. The Dolphins are 2-3.
They're the 7th seed in the AFC right now, man.
That's just insane. They've dealt with so many injuries. And so have the Dolphins, to be fair. So has everybody, to be fair. But the Colts just with very critical players have been racked by injuries. The Dolphins, Cam Smith is out. Javon Holland is doubtful. Skylar Thompson, Odell Beckham, Austin Jackson, Emmanuel Ogbah, and David Long are questionable. For the Colts, Jonathan Taylor is out once again. We should see him come back the following week. EJ Speed is doubtful. That hurts a lot because that dude is fun. Josh Downs and Alec Pierce are questionable. Michael Pittman is questionable. That's a dinged up wide receiver core. Braden Smith is out, and Dayo Odeyingbo is out. It's questionable. Braden Smith is questionable, and Dayo Odeyingbo is questionable as well. I don't know. Is this the game where Tyreek Hill takes one to the house and Devon Achan has enough juice, or
Well,
Anthony Richardson is back? Are they gonna play like?
this is so low key. This is a fun game environment because of the fantasy pieces and how bad the defenses are. Like the Dolphins' pass defense is good because of the fact that they give up so much on the ground, and teams are just have been in clock killing mode for like the last 4 or 5 weeks against them. Um, but I think that we saw a flash of Anthony Richardson with Josh Downs being effective, like against the Steelers. Like I don't think it's as bad as him being a career 50% passer or
Right.
whatever. Like he's going to get better, guys. Like he's right.
Career track right with Josh Allen.
Yeah, like right.
Like, I mean,
So
seriously, like
yeah,
with the same number of games played as Josh Allen, like when you track Josh Allen's career and Anthony Richardson's career, when you get to where Josh Allen is at game 6 or game 7, whatever, Anthony Richardson is right there. Very similar passing yardage, touchdowns, completion percentage, rushing yards, rushing touchdown. I mean, they're almost identical. It's really weird.
so yeah, so I this could be the week. Like the Colts are terrible. Like their cover 3, cover 4, cover 1 with Gus Bradley is as
You
bad
don't
as
have to
it
tell me
gets.
about Gus Bradley.
Like it's as bad as it gets. So like this could be a Tyreek Hill. This could be the Tyreek Hill awakening. Like I'm hoping for that as somebody who's a heavy Tyreek dynasty owner. But overall, like somebody's got to win. I would normally go with the home team, but I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill and Devon Achan to bring the Dolphins home, and they're going to be all hyped up because they're probably going to get Tua back next week. And if they're,
Seeing T. Dot Hill with the word BE or with BEN just to the left of that name physically hurts.
it's
Seeing
sick.
Tyreek Hill
It's
on my
sick.
benches physically hurts with no prospect of like, well, this week I can play him.
Yeah,
It hurts.
I mean, all throughout. So I did probably 143 best ball drafts throughout the year, like throughout the off season, and like anytime that I was like, as we got further into the process, and CD Lamb was holding out, and Christian McCaffrey was, just the thing started to pop up with him. I was just like, fine, I'll just take Tyreek Hill. That's the safest option, right? Like that's your safest bet. He's not holding out. He's a Hall of Fame caliber talent. Like there's no like, and he's in an offense that's going to give him 170 targets. Like, so yes, I feel your pain as somebody who was really, really bought in on Tyreek Hill this year.
Yeah. Well, best ball, I did pretty good because I was looking at value stacks, and so I smashed the heck out of the New York Giants and Atlanta Falcons stacks. So
Wow. Oh, that's real nice.
I'm in the money right now in the majority of my best ball leagues.
Nice.
All right, moving on. We have the matchup for everybody to watch. This is the marquee game. We talked earlier about a stoppable force against a movable object. This is the opposite of that. This is the two best run defenses in the NFL. This is the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings against the 4-1 Detroit Lions, who were the prohibitive favorite to be a Super Bowl contender. Minnesota with Sam Darnold have essentially come out of nowhere, and they're one of 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. Detroit, we know everything about. Minnesota, they're kind of limping along. We got Christian Mahogany is out for the Lions. Kevin Zeitler and Carlton Davis are questionable. Hopefully Zeitler gets in there. I love that dude. He's everywhere
100%.
in Madden, and like when I played PFF All 22, he was like one of my guards. He's good. For the Vikings, Blake Cashman is out. Caleb Evans is out. Aaron Jones is questionable. TJ Hawkinson won't play, but he's got a questionable designation. Dalton Risner is questionable. Harrison Phillips, please play, buddy. And Pat Jones, who I call Purple Max, because Max Crosby. Anyway, Pat Jones is questionable as well. If Harrison Phillips and Pat Jones are able to play, it's gonna complicate things for Jahmyr Gibbs and
David
David
Montgomery, Sonic and
Montgomery.
Knuckles, as they like to, they're preferring to be referred to now.
I hadn't heard that, but that's
Yes,
phenomenal.
yes,
Um,
yes.
I heard another one. Let me jump to that real quick. That is so good, and this doesn't like nobody cares about this except for me. But Jacorian Bennett, second year cornerback for the Las Vegas Raiders, his nickname is Sub Zero because he wears zero.
Nice.
I was like,
I like
nice.
that.
All right, so Minnesota stays undefeated, or does the Detroit combination of offense and defense have enough to jump up and bite them?
I like Detroit in this game, man.
You like Detroit on the road?
Yeah. Sam Darnold's been living on the skin of his, like living by the skin of his pants or skin of his teeth, whatever analogy you want to go with there. He's had some really, really bad turnover plays that have either gotten called back or, the guys just dropped the passes. And without Aaron Jones, like them potentially being in a negative game script and having to throw the ball quite a bit, I think that favors Detroit quite a bit. And I'm at the point now where you start stacking those wins up. You get to 4-0, you get to 5-0. I'm going to pick the other team just because I don't believe you're going to go 16-0. So
Okay.
they're at a point now where they've made it way past. Like they're at worst going to be a playoff team. Let's go ahead and give them their first loss. Let's get that out of the way. If they go 6-0, I'm going to pick the other team, no matter who it is next week.
Jamie Pirog with some breaking news. Hawkinson just downgraded out. Yeah, we knew that was coming. Just because they said he's not playing in week 7.
Yep.
Even though the designation was different. All right, so we've got Detroit in that one. We got a divisional tilt in the NFC. The New York Giants hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. For the Eagles, Dallas Goedert is out. Left tackle Jordan Mailata is out. And defensive tackle Byron Young, man, I had high hopes for you. Questionable Eli Ricks and Darius Slay. Big play Slay is questionable. Hopefully he plays just because he's fun to watch cover people. For the Giants, Adoree Jackson, former Tennessee Titan, kick return legend, right?
Yeah.
And punter Jamie Gillen. Sorry about your punter, bro. Those guys are out. Dexter Lawrence is questionable. Brian Burns is questionable, and Dane Belton are questionable on the defensive side. If Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns don't play, Eagles run away with this. But no designation for Malik Neighbors. He's back. We saw a little bit of a flash from Darius Slayton. We know what Wan'Dale Robinson brings as an absolute target machine. Tyrone Tracy looks like he's going to take. He took over that backfield. He took over Devin Singletary. And then don't look now, but Theo Johnson isn't bad, you guys. Giants upset in this one?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't want it. I want it, but I don't want it. I'd be fine if the Giants win this game. I don't think they're going to. I think that Malik Neighbors will have a big day. I think that Tyrone Tracy and Devin Singletary should perform pretty well. Like that, the receiving upside that Tyrone Tracy has is just, I mean, he's looked so much better. Like he looks like Diet Alvin Kamara. Like that's what that's what he looks like. He's explosive. He's breaking tackles. Like he looks outstanding. But on the other side of the ball, you've got the Eagles who, in spite of losing their left tackle and Dallas Goedert, it just concentrates the targets even more. They didn't play well last week and still found a way to win. I expect Jalen Hurts to kind of be on the uptick now that he's getting those reps from Devonta Smith in the slot and A.J. Brown out wide, and you still have to deal with Saquon Barkley in his return to MetLife Stadium. Like we said, over on 199.5 rushing. I think it might actually happen this week.
Yeah, and the Vegas has it as a 3-point spread. But the Giants' pass defense is highly underrated. A lot of
Yeah,
people don't
agreed.
understand
Yeah.
how good the Giants' defensive backfield has been.
Yeah,
Um,
Shane Bowen has done a really, really good job with that defensive unit. Obviously, adding a talent like Brian Burns helps, and having Dexter Lawrence. But Adoree, Deontay Banks, a lot of those guys, like they did a great job against the Bengals last week. It just, I mean, Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow, so he found a way to make a few plays, and like they won that game. But yeah, they're a way better unit than I was anticipating coming into the year.
I'm calling this my upset alert.
Nice. I don't
It's
look. I don't mind it.
right.
Somebody with deep-seated cowboy roots. I hope both teams fall off the face of the earth. So yeah,
It's in division. The Giants are home dogs. I think they're underrated. Malik comes back. Um, I'm calling that. I'm calling that my upset alert for the week.
love it, love it.
All right, game nobody cares about. 2-4 Las Vegas Raiders visiting the Los Angeles Rams, who are 1-4. 3 combined wins for them. Dylan Parham is out. Liam Eichenberg is out. Kana Maga is out. Jacoby Myers is doubtful. Zamir White is questionable. Adam Butler is questionable. John Jenkins is questionable. Cooper Kupp should be back. Jordan Whittington is dealing with a shoulder injury. Might not play even though he's only questionable. And offensive tackle Joe Notaboom is questionable as well. Raiders win. Nobody cares. All right. Commanders and Panthers, the surprise of the season. Washington Commanders 4-2 against the Carolina Panthers. Somehow still 1-5, even though like we don't think that they're that bad with the Red Rocket.
They're playing USFL players on defense, man. Like they don't have a way to
see.
get stopped. Yeah,
I hadn't been that dialed in. For the Panthers, Jonathan Brooks won't play yet. Offensive tackle Taylor Moton is out. Ashawn Robinson is out. Claudine Cherilus is out. Josie Jewell is out. John Radigan is out. Jaden Crumedy is doubtful. Jadeveon Clowney still is an NFL player. He is doubtful. Sam Franklin is doubtful. Deontay Johnson is questionable with ribs, hamstring, and ankle. David Moore, still a thing. He's questionable. Tommy Tremble is questionable with a back injury and concussion. Offensive tackle Yosh Nyman is questionable. LeBrian Ray and Dane Jackson are all questionable. Panthers are banged up, although their defense is helmed by UC Davis legend Ajiro Evero, and he's going to come. I don't know. He's not going to stop Jaden Daniels. Washington wins in that one. And
agreed.
for the Commanders, Dorrance Armstrong is still out. Get back soon, buddy. Safety Tyler Owens as well. Brian Robinson should play. Raiders legend and legendary 104 faceplant Cleveland Ferrell is questionable, and Jordan McGee is questionable with a knee. All right. The other banner game. I mean, my eyes are on Minnesota and Detroit, but 49ers haven't played to their potential at this point. 5-0 Kansas City hasn't either. They're undefeated, and we're still waiting for their game where they put everything together, where they don't look like crap. And they're still 5-0. What happens when they're on all cylinders? Like, look out.
Do they have? I mean, like, do they truly have a ceiling, or is it just like we'll make one more play than you guys will because we have Patrick Mahomes? Like,
Or the Zebras will give it to us.
agreed. I don't have.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just think that the refs are in the bag for the Chiefs.
I mean, it's hard to argue when you say 53 interceptions have been called back by penalty in Patrick Mahomes' tenure.
Yeah, it's not a theory. It's a fact.
No, I mean that is something that is a real stat. So yeah, no, I'm with you.
For the Chiefs, Michael Dana is out. Juju has a hamstring injury, but he's going to play. For the 49ers, Juwan Jennings is designated out. Jake Moody out. Oh, Mace Riney at Cali King 49er, host of the 49ers Uncovered show on the Undroppables, wore a Jake Moody Michigan jersey to our Scott Fish Bowl draft, and I loved it. And now we're friends because I thought that was so cool, and I went up and talked to him, and the 49ers drafted his guy. And then Matthew Wright is out. Kevin Givens and Darrell Luter on the defensive side of the ball for the Niners are questionable. Chiefs win at home in San Francisco, in Santa Clara, which is a good 45-minute drive south of San Francisco. They're not even close to San Francisco. They're more like they're closer to San Jose. I don't know why they're not the San Jose 49ers. And this is a game that
sexy.
Even if it's
that's
a 2.5
brand for sure.
Right? It's 2.5 hours for me. I'm not going. It's literally the two teams I care the least about. But I think Kansas City wins this one. This game came to mind when you said with Minnesota, you start looking for a loss when we get, a third of the way into the season and teams are undefeated.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. The Niners coming out victorious. They haven't put everything together. They've had some stumbles. The Chiefs haven't put everything together yet. They're somehow 5-0. Niners are at home. But I still think that just given the fact that Kansas City hasn't played well and also wins, somebody at work last night said, well, the Niners are hungry because they keep losing the Chiefs. Well, the Chiefs keep beating them because the Chiefs know how to beat them. Right. So I think the Chiefs do it again.
So I'm on the opposite side of this. Like I'm going with my theory. I'm going with Kansas City. Kansas City goes to Santa Clara and they fall. The 49ers
appreciate it.
The 49ers have been playing like they've had pockets to where they played elite 49er football, but Kyle Shanahan will go full Shanahan in the fourth quarter of these games. Like Shanahan in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl and Mr. Coach Klein from the Water Boy, same person. Okay? Same person. Because he will just go completely brain dead and then just abandon whatever game plan that he has and blow a lead. And that's what they've done this year. But they've come closer and played better football as a whole, I believe, than the Chiefs have at any point in this season. Like, I don't believe the Chiefs have played. I mean, they played well against the Ravens, and, they played well enough to win in these other games. I don't really think that they've really – I mean, the Bengals game, sure, they got a defensive touchdown, but that was more so Joe Burrow just being careless with the football. Like, I don't think that if San Francisco's firing on all cylinders, Kansas City's going to do enough to win that game. And so I like the 49ers to win in Santa Clara.
My only question for the Niners is, are they going to be able to stop Xavier Worthy?
That's a good question. That's a worthy question. But I mean, the two targets, like if one of them doesn't go for a touchdown, like, do you feel good about it?
No. Yeah. the two targets. He actually led the team in games without Rashee Rice. He's led the team in first read looks.
Yeah. And then teams are just like, hey, we're going to play cover 4 post safety, and good luck getting over the top.
Yeah.
So
give me the ball underneath. No, that's Travis Kelce's domain.
Yeah.
All right, we have the 4-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. 4-2? What? Against the 2-4 New York Jets. Opposite the records that people probably expected coming into the season. Steelers are running Russell Wilson out there, and then we've got Devontae Adams as the influx the New York Jets are looking for. Michael Carter's out for the Jets in the defensive backfield. Tyler Conklin has a hip injury. He's questionable. Chaz Surratt is questionable, and DJ Reed is questionable. For the Steelers, Cordero Patterson is out. Dylan Cook is out. Zach Frazier is out. And Nick Herbig is still out. Roman Wilson and DeMonte KZ are questionable. It's Sunday night. Sunday night is either the Steelers, Giants, or Cowboys or Chiefs every week, and it's I'm tired of it. But at least we get to see the New York Jets win, and I'm sticking to it.
I agree wholeheartedly. I like the Jets. I like the Jets big in this game, actually.
All right, we got.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm actually So I need to do this right now. I'll do it while we're talking about it. But I watched that game against you guys last week, and a couple times the Steelers' right tackle just went full NPC and just decided to take the play off. And Justin Fields was able to scramble and get like 12 yards or get out of harm's way. Russell Wilson's not going to be able to do that. And
No.
Will McDonald has been on fire this year. So I think that they're absolutely going to they're gonna boat race the Steelers. And this Russ thing could be very short lived because he's gonna get mauled back there.
I have Will McDonald in my home league. I'm gonna come on. Don't you hate how sleeper notifications just constantly pop up every time you're trying to touch something on your phone and it goes to where you're not trying to go? Will McDonald, and I'm starting him this week over Myles Garrett.
I would agree with that because Myles Garrett lines up on the right side against Lane Johnson. Or never mind, I'm thinking of last week.
Also, I've been running with Jesse Bates every week, and I decide, okay, I'm going to make a move. I go get Paulson Adebo, stick him in the lineup, 4.5 points. He's in the first third of the game. He's doing just fine. He's about to have a big game and prove me right. And then, boom, he gets carted off on a cart.
Yeah. Broken femur.
Seriously?
Yes.
I didn't see
Broken
the update.
femur.
We'll get to
I've
the
known
Saints.
him since high school. So I feel so bad for him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think? You know how Sleeper lets you do nicknames?
Yeah.
His nickname in Sleeper for my team is Le Pilier de la Maison. When I do nicknames, I look up either their authentic nickname, what people actually give them. I don't make up like puns and like stupid crap like that.
Right.
But that's what his name means. It's the man of the house, the pillar of the house. That's what his name means. So I did it in French because he's a French speaking Nigerian. So shout out Paulson Adebo.
So I met him. I didn't find out his name was Paulson until he got to Stanford. I met him and he introduced himself to me as Saeed.
Oh yeah, I think that's his middle name.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got you didn't click on this show expecting Paulson Adebo love, did you?
Yeah.
But
we are, guys.
Right. All right. Monday night we actually have this show because we're not doing it on Friday. We actually have injury designations for the Monday night game. It's the 4-2 Baltimore Ravens against the 4-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Unfortunately, one of these teams has to come out of this game at 4-3. For the Ravens, Rasheen Ali is out, Malik Harrison is out, Broderick Washington is doubtful, and Arthur Mollett is questionable. For the Buccaneers, Raheem Jarrett, Cameron Johnson, Payne Durham, and Jamel Dean are all out. I don't see Antoine Winfield on this. Wow. Rashad White is questionable. Trey Palmer is questionable. Ernest Brown and Vita Vea as well. Get Vita Vea into that game. Dude is a beast. And we do have a doubleheader on Monday night, which apparently the NFL really, really likes that idea. The Chargers and the Cardinals are playing. There's no designation or there aren't injury designations yet. And also nobody cares. So as far as the Buccaneers, Todd Bowles came out and just gave the death knell to fantasy running backs. He said, we're going to play Rashad White, Bucky Irving, and Sean Tucker, a series each, and then go with whoever we think did better. What? That's not how you play football. That's not how you run a football team. That's not how you coach. You give Rashad White the ball and you say, prove us wrong. And then you let him cook. And then if Bucky or if whatever happens, but Rashad White is your dude. What is wrong with you?
If there's a time for Rashad White to show his specialized skill set, it's this week.
Yeah, and I think he's going to do that. I think it was mostly coach speak. I think they know Rashad White is their RB1, and that's what's eventually going to play out. I think that's what happens. But I think the Ravens win, and the Buccaneers drop to 4-3, giving the Saints just that little bit of a hope.
Hope of what?
That they can get back in it and jump the Falcons and the Buccaneers.
Oh,
maybe not the Saints. Maybe just me. Maybe it's just me and my they're the dark horse team. Let's talk real quick.
They were until half their team ended up on IR or just missing games like crazy.
Right. That's Rashid and Olave and Derek Carr and Taysom Hill and Pete Werner, Cesar Ruiz.
Yeah.
Just decimated. And then now Adebo and
Marshawn Lattimore.
Lattimore goes out. Like, I mean, it was they didn't have a chance. Going forward, Spencer Rattler is not the guy. Hopefully Derek Carr comes back quick. Any hope for these guys? Think they can kind of like claw back into it and hope guys get fixed. Rashid Shaheed,
they go
she's
7-9.
obviously out for the year.
They can go 7-9 and talk themselves into maybe, being a top 5 pick next year. Have you seen? So I read this. So Nick Wright was the one who posted on Twitter. Fox Sports guy, whatever, and he posted this on Twitter. They're $97 million over the projected cap for next year. $97 million.
That is insane.
Yeah. And the biggest contracts, they save no money by cutting.
That is insane.
Yes.
It's time for a new GM, you guys.
Yeah.
Newsflash. Hello.
Yeah. Just go get one of Howie Roseman's underlings and see if he could maybe mitigate some of this damage. But yeah, they're basically in cap hell until 2027.
I've got an idea. Go give the Raiders a call. We got a guy who was running the show last year after McDaniels left. He's in-house. Go ahead and grab Tom Telesco. Send him over to the Saints. He'll do better with the cap than the dude in New Orleans right now.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's hard. It's hard to argue with. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That, like, I'll text it to you. Because
see, that's the thing about Telesco is that he's not bad. He's like, they've got good cap people. It's one of the reasons that like the Devontae Adams trade is going to benefit us down the road. And
right.
he's not terrible with personnel. Like a lot of his Chargers draft picks were great. He drafted Brock Bowers. He had a hell of a draft in 2024. But the decision making with Gardner Minshew starting, and it's just like, what is going, just you put the personnel together and let your coaches make the decisions. And that's whatever. Okay, we're done. What are you saying? What are you going to send me?
I'm going to send you the tweet because it lays out pretty much the Saints cap situation and why, if they are not competitive this year, they're not going to be competitive. They're going to be like the brown bag, paper bag Saints for like the next 2 years, pretty much. Yeah.
All right. Well, my two NFC teams are the Lions and the Saints. I guess I'm down to one NFC
50%'s not bad, bud.
True. All right. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you again next week. I think we're going to be here on Friday.
Yes. We'll be back to our regular scheduled programming.
Have fun in Florida, Chev. Everybody else enjoy the games tomorrow, especially the Sunday game. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to play this new commercial, and then after that, I'll do the outro. So thanks, guys. Have fun.
Hey, I know it's a popular statistic to cite, these underdog pick'ems, the vast majority of people go more than on any given player. Yeah, close to 80% of people, but that's because it's easier to find the shootouts than it is to find the dud games every Sunday afternoon. Like we knew week 5, Ravens-Bengals was going to be a shootout. And there goes Lamar Jackson for 4 touchdowns. There goes Joe Burrow for 5 touchdowns. Derrick Henry gets there. Zay Flowers is over 100 yards. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins both got there, as well as Chase Brown. Both Chases got there. You go more than. You 100x your payout on Underdog with their Pick 6 contest. But then you look at Dolphins Patriots, that's going down the toilet, right? Too bad Ramondre Stevenson at 18 fantasy points. But you improve your chances at positive returns when you correlate with these Underdog pick'ems. Use promo code Underworld. This is the biggest bonus Underdog has ever given out, up to $125. Promo code is Underworld. Put in $250, you get $125. Now go start picking. From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.
To the moon, to the moon.